Hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Yu Wing. You can call me You Win or Win, and I'm happy that we're together whenever and wherever you are tuning in. This video is a video in a 90-day series for me to speak my truth and to share my story. And so I hope that if that's something you've been working on, if it's something you've been thinking about, something you've been pondering, I hope this is a sign or confirmation of something you needed to hear. And I hope that you take that step. I hope that you share that song or have that conversation, write that letter, write that text. You can do it. I believe in you. And I hope that it allows for you to be in further alignment with who you are. And so I do like to start these videos with a practice. And I haven't done this in a while. I said I would do it with this particular deck, but I'm going to go ahead and choose a card or see what card falls out of my Rumi Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild. And so let me see what shows up for you. Hopefully it'll resonate. And if it doesn't, feel free to leave it here. All right. So let's see what happens. I wonder how you're doing here and now. When I'm recording this, it is uh, December 2025. I am in the Northern Hemisphere. And so we're in the middle of or late into autumn, and the winter solstice is almost upon us. And so it doesn't quite feel like um, winter yet, but we'll see what happens. And I have a new setup that I'm trying out. So if this looks or appears differently to you, that's probably what's going on. I know that for me, anything that changes can really shift the energy. So if you're picking up on that, uh, excellent. I'm happy you're listening to your intuition and working with it. And I am looking at my last video in this series to be published on December 27th. I believe that's a Saturday. And so after that, I'll figure out what to do next. But it's been quite a ride. It's been quite a journey. I still have to make room and space to reflect on it, just like I have to do for 2025, which will probably be a part of that process for me these next couple of weeks. Um, and so I hope that you have space for reflection, even if it doesn't include writing, even if it doesn't, feel formal because you can't just sit down and do it. But even if it's, I don't know, looking back at your photos and remembering some of the moments that, you haven't thought about all year long, I think that can be really special too. Or maybe having a chat with a friend, someone that you've been in touch with this year, and maybe reflecting on how, you know, um, what the role was that they played for you this year or some of those special moments that you shared. So I hope that there's something in there for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this card. So the card is Divine Discontent. Oops. So just giving you a moment to take a look. I know a lot of the times people will encourage us to look at the image, see what you notice, feel what you notice, any sensations, any thoughts, sort of things that fly in. that land feel really clear. Okay. And then let me go ahead and look at the guidebook and read a little bit of what it has to say. So these messages in the guidebook are actually pretty long. So I won't read the whole thing to you. That could take about 10 minutes. I do want to continue on and share a little bit about my story that I had an interesting topic to bring up. So the quote from Rumi is, "Winter falls upon us, so spring can bring new growth. Cry the tears, allow the longing. Sadness brings surrender and a deep desire to be free." There is a sense within you, perhaps quite obvious to your conscious mind, or perhaps only dimly registered, as an unnameable, underlying sense of anxiety that something in your life is not quite right. It may be the sense, even amongst so much gratitude, of a yearning yet to be met, a longing yet to be fulfilled and satisfied. This is the pain of the awakening heart. That heart is capable of bliss and ecstatic reverence for the sheer beauty and wonder of creation. Yet as the heart matures, there will be a process of deep, passionate longing that awakens for the divine. It is the impatience for the caress of the great lover, for the presence of the divine to come to you. Over time, that longing will grow from a mild inner sense of incompleteness, needing to become whole. It will develop into a holy fever, a sacred rage, a stamping of dancing feet, a pounding of fists upon the altar, and a longing so deep and distressing that one may well break into tears at the impossibility of bearing the pain of apparent separation for even a moment longer. So I don't know if that resonates for you in any way, sort of sitting with what doesn't feel comfortable, sitting with growing pains, sitting with some of the loneliness, maybe that comes as you're awakening and things are shifting and moving in and out of your life, whether that's people or beliefs or opportunities, relationships, commitments. And so holding that, wondering about, what might the purpose be? What might this be an opportunity for? What might this next step, where might it take us? So I hope that it normalizes and validates, if you are on this path and you're moving towards what feels like an awakening or an ascension or evolution, growth, and it doesn't feel great yet. Maybe you're just right in the middle of it, right in the thick of it. So that is the oracle card that I pulled. If you want to hear more about what the card says, I encourage you to look online. I know people will sometimes take photos from the guidebook, and or I know on YouTube I've seen some folks who are readers like read the entire um, message in the guidebook, which again can be like 8 to 10 minutes, 6 to 8 minutes, depending. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and do so. So I was thinking, and it actually happened last night when I was listening to a video. I was driving home from a fun time with a friend, having a yummy meal, sharing in delicious comfort food, and then checking out some holiday lights and getting into the holiday spirit a bit with someone. And I drove home and I was listening to this video, and it was talking about these two sort of pathways or these two containers. And one being someone who has experienced a sense of belonging and now is sort of losing that or feeling um, disliked after a period of feeling like they were liked or that they belonged. And then the second group was a group of people who have always felt that they did not belong. Um, and so she was kind of talking about the reasons for the two and the purpose of it, and then the encouragement. So for the first group, she was saying that um, you have, or like in this group, people have abandoned themselves in order to be liked by others, or in order to be approved, or in order to belong. And so the encouragement was to sit with the discomfort, maybe that discontent, um, to feel what it feels like to not be liked if we are being our authentic self, and to see if we can feel more comfortable in it. That was my sense, or what I'm remembering at this time. And I'll go ahead and share the link in the notes. But then this morning, as I was going about my day, I was thinking about a video that my therapist has sent me early on this year, and she had me watch a video that was talking about attachment, and it was this idea that we have these two needs when we're babies. One is the need for attachment to our caregiver, right? And the other is for authenticity. And so I thought about this because I felt like it was connected to the video I watched or listened to last night, and just how I've chosen attachment over authenticity, right? And I'll share, it's not the exact video that I had watched originally, but I found a clip of Gabor Mate talking about this concept. And so, if you want to hear a little bit more about what he has to say, it will be in the notes as well. But just to see how the value of being accepted, to belong, right? To have an attachment with caregiver, uh, peers around us, peers around me. Um, it can be tricky when there were messages, like when I was authentic, when I was trying to express my emotions, when I was trying to speak my truth, to be rejected or to be dismissed or to be ignored or um, unheard. And so, as a baby, as a kid, I learned that being authentic was unsafe. And so I chose attachment over authenticity, and it helped me to survive, right? I kept the caregivers in my life so that I could have my needs met, so that I could grow and mature. And then, as I did, to be able to be in relationships with others, to feel connection, um, to relate to one another, to share experiences, to be in each other's space. And so I think it's a really interesting time now, for me and where I've been, and really trying to really trying to figure out how to like switch that, right? I think I had a note in my phone that I was looking at earlier today, and I do want to read it because is it is related. Um, on October 11th of this year, I wrote, I think because of my wound, I always listened to others figuring out what it meant so that I could keep them around, but I hardly listened to them to listen to them. So I want to hear another without the fear of them leaving me. I want to hear them for their truth. And I think that even in this desire, and I don't know like percentage of time that, I've done this, um, but it's probably also difficult for me to be able to hear other people's truths when I'm not able to express my truths, and where am still figuring out how to feel motivated, not even safe, but just like, what's the point, right, of expressing? And so I think it's really interesting to like look at that note and kind of like be here now and like, oh, like I feel like these things are connecting. I feel like I'm connecting the dots with you as I'm sharing this video. But I don't know if you've ever had to consider authenticity versus attachment. Attachment could be belonging, it could be, you know, um, I mean, this is probably for those who self abandon, or what's the other, people please, right? Like, how do you make someone happy? How do you um, have someone like you so that you don't have to worry about being abandoned? But I think it is also sort of based on an old belief that you need others, right? Especially as a child, as a baby, as a toddler, you do need others to be able to survive. And so now, as adults, being able, for myself, being an adult and being able to pull back from that belief, that like central belief that I need other people. And not to say that I'm not a social creature, not to say that I don't believe in interdependence, right? But how do I shift the value or the weight that I've placed on attachment over authenticity? Authenticity. How can I make space for authenticity? Um, how do I find that balance? And obviously, it's like a everyday and every moment kind of practice. And now I'm just like curious, like if the card says anything else about this or answers the question, because I'm like, I felt drawn to pick up the book again. Okay, so continuing, it says, as devotion grows and passion for the divine intensifies, so too does this yearning, so much so that this may come to feel as though your heart is breaking for the divine. Or perhaps you are not quite there yet. Your heart is attached to smaller gods such as your status, your job, your lover, your body looking a certain way, or being able to live your life in a particular way. These smaller gods are not necessarily an issue, yet you have drawn this oracle, and so it is guidance for you that the divine wants to draw you closer. Sometimes that means we will have the meager meal wrested from our hand so we may feast upon something far more delectable and grand. It is the pain, the real noble pain of the heart that says, there is something more than this inadequacy, the settling for plastic instead of precious gemstones that must end now. I cannot be fed by pixelated sunsets in animation upon my computer screen. I yearn to be blasted by so much radiance and beauty, by the real thing, that I become stupefied. I must witness so much divine splendor that all I can utter is some incoherent grunt, my mind dissembled and my heart ignited by the presence of my beloved. I want to become a fumbling, ecstatic wreck in the presence of my beloved. I want to allow this pain, this yearning, this divine discontent to guide me to my holy lover so my life may never be the same again. The discontent divine growing within you is the beginning, not the destiny. Its purpose is to lead you into your greatest connection yet with divinity. Do not resist it. Witness it. Do not dismiss it, trying to cover up its smell with rose petals. Let your rank discontent be the pathway to divinity. Look beyond what is, what has been prized and treasured, and is now found to be plated and not the precious gold it was once esteemed to be. I don't know if that gave me any more. A little bit, but I guess I guess the idea that I can let the discontent move me, I can be curious, and even if it's uncomfortable in the process of trying to be more aligned or trying to embody authenticity, I hope that I can continue to be curious and open to whatever opportunity may be present in the moment. Even if it's the same question that I'm asking over and over again, maybe I'm going to get a different answer, especially if I am being more thoughtful and mindful about the seeds that I'm planting in the garden of my mind, the garden of my consciousness. I've been really trying to choose my thoughts today, and I think it's been a really lovely space to be in. And I've just been choosing joy today. I feel happy now, trying to find reasons and things to lean into joy and lean into happiness. So, yeah, I'm talking about divine discontent. And yeah, I'm talking about authenticity versus attachment. And life is good. And I'm grateful. And I'm happy that I can share this video and you're here witnessing me and my journey. And I guess in a way, this is a safe way for me to speak my truth because even if you are dismissing me or if you have to leave and you can't continue, you can pause it or stop the video or if you haven't already. Um, so I will continue to express it even if it's not received. And so maybe that's a lesson, a takeaway from this 90-day challenge. All right, I'm going to get going. I appreciate you. I'm happy that our paths crossed. I hope you are taking good care of yourself and that you are healthy and safe. And if our journeys continue, I look forward to connecting again. And if not, I hope you are well and thank you for being here. All right. Talk to you another time. Okay. Bye bye.